that's right. Joining me now to talk more about what we can expect from Donald Trump's speech on Tuesday night and what CPAC means for the Republican Party is Susan Page, USA Today's Washington Bureau Chief. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be with you.
You know, I really wanted to start, of course, I want to preview what you foresee on Tuesday, but before I do, I want to talk to you a little bit about CPAC's past, and you know, what is your takeaway from CPAC this year? Because the last time we saw a president was Ronald Reagan. If I'm not mistaken, you were here.
You know, Ronald Reagan was the last president to address CPAC in his first year as president. That was in 1981. That was the very first CPAC I covered, and you know, the difference in CPAC is pretty remarkable since then, because then it was seen as kind of a wing of the Republican Party, and to a lot of mainstream Republicans at that time, kind of a wacky wing. Well, CPAC now represents the mainstream of the Republican Party, and one of the interesting things I think we saw with President Trump's speech here is the degree to which he is putting his own stamp on the conservative movement. In some ways, on trade and some other issues, Donald Trump does not have the traditional conservative position on the issues, and yet there were no protests here with him. He got an extremely enthusiastic reception.
No, initially when he came to the stage, he spent a few minutes talking about the fake media, and I thought maybe he wasn't going to necessarily follow anything scripted, but then a couple minutes in, he went into a scripted speech, and he talked about immigration, and he talked about regulations, and he talked about health care, and he did receive, I would say, an ovation for every point that he brought up. It was an enthusiastic crowd, and like you mentioned, it wasn't just necessarily a group of conservatives. It was from people from all across the right, if you will.
You know, it's really a sign of the way in which the Republican Party at this moment is pretty united behind President Trump, and that is remarkable because he did not have the support of the party establishment when he ran for president. And you know, he may have trouble later on. It's possible when he comes up with the details of policies, there'll be some pushback on issues like entitlement reform. But at the moment, you see the Democrats being pretty divided and Republicans being pretty united.
And I think it was in one of your pieces where you said he does have the support of Republicans right now, but he's not gaining the support of Democrats right now. And looking ahead, Tuesday, he needs to address them, whether or not they support him. How does he do that?
Well, now, traditionally, we expect this to be a time when new presidents try to expand their reach, their appeal to voters. He's not really followed that script. He has very low support among Democrats and reasonably low support among independents. But his support among Republicans is as strong as Reagan's was at this time. It's as strong as Barack Obama's support among Democrats was a month into his presidency. So that's a sign of strength. But the question is, can he get legislation through Congress? Can he get big things done if he doesn't do better among some of the people who didn't vote for him in November?
How does he do that? And also, you know, when he talks to Congress, typically he paints sort of a wide picture. He can be a little vague in some of his issues. And I think some of those lawmakers want to hear very descriptive, very tangible details going forward. How does he do that?
You know, you're exactly right, because we're going into a new phase of his presidency. It's gone beyond, he's going to go beyond the kind of bold declarations that we heard in the inaugural address to specifics about, okay, you want to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. What exactly should we do? Or you want a big tax reform bill. We know that's one of the administration's top priorities. What exactly is going to be included in that? What do you do about the border tax, which is a proposal that divides some Republicans? So I think one thing that both sides are going to want to hear from him in the speech to Congress on Tuesday is more specifics about exactly the approach he'll take on some of these issues that he's talked about in very broad terms.
Yeah, because when you talk about that border tax, that could mean an increase in price for the consumer on an array of goods. And so he may get pushback from, like you said, Republicans and Democrats on that issue.
He could, and yet we know from the new Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, that after the Affordable Care Act debate, they want to move directly into tax reform in the summer and fall, and that is a really aggressive timetable for a new administration.
Aggressive timetable for anybody, but we will be watching, and we hope to have you back. Susan Page, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah,
thanks.
and you're probably finally heading home after this.
I am.
So we're glad that we snagged you. Thank you so much.